Damn. Talk about a movie that just comes out of nowhere. Hey guys, it's Kevin again. I know I said that my next video would be for the last movie review I do in 2015. I thought it was going to be. It was supposed to be the last one I do. But then I checked Solar Movie, and the movie that I'm going to be reviewing is a movie I've wanted to see for so long, and I did not think I would be able to watch this movie till it was Oscar season. I thought this movie would be, it wasn't coming to my theater, it wasn't coming on to Solar Movie. I didn't really think I was gonna be able to see it at all. But finally, this movie came onto Solar Movie. I'm so happy it did. I've wanted to see it for the longest time. I've heard the most amazing things about this movie, and that movie is Anomalisa. And I could not wait to see this movie. Just I've heard the most amazing things about it. Most people I've seen have said it's the best movie of the year, and I was just thinking, okay, what can make this movie so great? What can top Room? That's my big thing, is what can top Room? Um, and you know what? This movie did it. This movie did it, guys. This movie, without a doubt, is the best movie I've seen all year. Now, that might change when I see the final film this year, but for right now, this is the best film I have seen all year. Anomalisa is quite possibly one of the best films I've ever seen, honestly. This movie just hits you on every level, and it's unlike anything I've seen before, and it's one of the reasons it works as well as it does. Now, the plot of Anomalisa, I love the plot to this movie. If you guys don't know, it's also based on not a stage play, but a voice play. I believe it was a play done through audio, and they decided to make it into a movie. And basically, we focus on this man, Michael Stone. He is this very successful author, and he should be happily married with a wife and son. There's really nothing wrong except that he, for whatever reason, really struggles to connect with people. Everyone he sees looks the same to him, and he hasn't really made any connections and feels very alone. However, one day he goes on this business trip and runs into two fans, one that feels the same to him, but the other one is named Lisa, and she pretty much changes everything for him. And basically, that's all I'm going to say because I don't want to spoil the rest of the movie. And that's basically a plot of Anomalisa. And damn, did this movie affect me. I mean, even if you can't relate to what he's going through, you will completely understand this movie. And that's something I definitely really loved, is the way this movie was done. I mean, this is a movie that is just so different, and something I really love is the cast in this film. There's only three voice actors in this entire movie. Only three voice actors, and I really do appreciate that. And I'll talk about why there's three voice actors because I find that to be very interesting. But let's talk about our main central three actors. Now, our main actor here is David Thewlis. Now, I've never heard this name, David Thewlis, before, but he was incredible in this movie. I loved his character, Michael Stone. He was so interesting, and the thing I love the most about him is just the way this character is. He should be a happy man. He has pretty much everything he needs in life. He has a job, he has a wife and son, but for whatever reason, he's just not happy. Something about it is just too normal for him. He wants something more exciting, and what he's doing isn't really exciting him, and I really love that about his character. Just the emotions poured out into him was just so great. The way they wrote his character was so well done, and his performance overall, I mean, the thing I love is that this is an animated character, but you really felt like this was someone you could relate to. I mean, he doesn't want normality. This is a character that just wants more. He wants more in life. He doesn't understand things, and I really just love seeing that as character. Everything they did with him was perfect. He played this character to perfection, and he was just fantastic. Honestly, should get Oscar nominated. He was incredible in this movie, did an incredible job, and it's honestly unlike any anime performance I've seen before. I mean, they put as much detail into his character as I've seen in any film, in a regular film, and they really did a great job at fleshing out his character. Jennifer Jason Leigh in this movie was also fantastic as Lisa. Lisa is the first girl that Michael really has a connection with, and you understand why he looks at her differently. Something about her is just different than other people he's ever met, and he's always wanted to find that one person. It seems like Lisa and him, Lisa's gonna be that first person he bonds with, and the bond that these two have in the movie one of the most, probably one of the best bonds I've ever seen in a film. I mean, they just connect so, so well. They have like this scene and it goes on for like 20 minutes, but I was so into it. Their relationship was just so great. The bond that develops between them is fantastic, and they both gave amazing, amazing performances, especially David Thewlis, but Jennifer Jason Leigh especially. I really love the character of Lisa, a woman that really doesn't think she's all that great and doesn't think there's anything really interesting about her and thinks that she herself is pretty mundane. That's one of the reasons that Michael sees her, because she is anything but that to him, and I definitely really love that. I think she did an incredible job, and really just everything about her character I loved. But something else was very impressed by with this movie that I've never seen any other film do, and this was very daring for this movie to do, and it's one of the reasons why I think this movie was animated. If this movie was live action, they would not have been able to do this. It just would not have made sense if they did this. So it had to be animated, I think, because of this. Is Tom, besides these two actors, Tom Noonan plays every other actor in the movie, actor and actress. And yes, you heard me right. Tom Noonan does the voice for girls. Why? Because Michael doesn't see other people as people. He sees them all as the same voice. They don't really attract him. He's not really drawn to them like he is to Lisa. He doesn't hear their real voice. All he hears is the same voice over and over again. I found that to be very, very interesting. And he really did a good job at making these characters seem different. Even though they're not different to Michael, they are very different. And they all really care about Michael. That's something I love, is that these people, they're not like they don't care about Michael. They really do care about Michael, but he just, for whatever reason, is not connecting with them. And it's very interesting to watch. And I think Tom Noonan did an amazing job, definitely, with voicing all these characters. And it took me a while to realize he was doing this. I mean, when a woman was sounding like a man, I'm like, why are they doing that? I'm like, oh, that's why, because he hears the same voice out of everyone, because he just isn't connecting with them. So their voice doesn't matter to him. That's why their voice doesn't matter. He doesn't care about their voice because he's not connecting with them, so he doesn't really remember their voice. And that makes sense. I mean, what is one of the first things that we as humans remember when we connect with someone is that voice. We hear that voice in our head. We hear that voice, when we associate with that person, we picture their voice, and that's exactly what they did so well with this movie. And it was something that I've never seen before, and I was very, very impressed by it. It's one of the things that really makes this film as great as it is. Tom Noonan killed it in this role. I mean, he just did an incredible job, especially since he had to play basically almost every character in this movie besides the two central ones, and he really did a great job. Definitely loved his character in the movie. Now, the directing is, the acting is great in this movie, but the real thing to credit here is the directing by Charlie Kaufman. Holy shit, Charlie Kaufman. I mean, Charlie Kaufman has made some incredible films. Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind is an incredible film, but Anomalisa, I think, is his best film that he's made, because I just never have seen anything like it, and it's his most intimate film, definitely. I mean, the way he directed this film was very unapologetic. There are things he did in this movie that I still can't believe that he was able to do. I mean, I watched this movie and I'm like, how did he pitch this? How did he get people involved with this? How did he take this seriously? I mean, there are things in this movie that you shouldn't be able to take seriously, but you just do. And I think his directing was so well handled to this film. He did a great job directing it. It was such an incredible directing. I mean, it's a very depressing story, but he did a good job of keeping us interested and showing why this was important. His directing just poured throughout the whole movie, and he did that so, so well, and did what all Charlie Kaufman films really did. He didn't really do anything that new, except the fact that this was animated, and that's why I think it stood out more. But that's one of the reasons it worked out so well, is because he just did what he did and made it that much better, and I thought his directing was incredible in this movie. The screenplay, though, without a doubt, is my favorite screenplay of this year. I mean, the screenplay to this movie just carries the film so, so well, and there are so many amazing scenes in this movie. In my opinion, this is a screenplay that will make this movie a classic. I really think we're going to look back on this movie and be like, that movie is a classic. I really think we're going to look back on this movie that way. I mean, just the way the screenplay is constructed, I mean, just there are so many great lines in the screenplay. There's so much poured into this screenplay. I mean, just the scene in general. There's a scene, like I said, there's like a 20-minute scene between Michael and Lisa where we realize things about them getting to know each other. It's so interesting. And it takes a very long time for Michael to meet Lisa. And it's a very interesting the way they handle that as well. Just showing how Michael feels alone all the time and that there's no one there for him and that he just, for whatever reason, he just feels alone. The life he has is not enough for him. I really love the way they portrayed that. They did that in such a great way, and they didn't make it seem like Michael was a dick. They really didn't do it that way. I mean, you really care about Michael, and you see why he sees the world this way, and they did a great job with that. The screenplay in general just was incredible. Every line, I mean, every conversation I thought was incredible. Every conversation really meant something, and every conversation as well really did get us somewhere. I mean, there really wasn't any scene, I think, that didn't get us everywhere because every scene really involves him trying to make a connection with someone and it's just not working. And then he meets Lisa, and that's when the entire movie changes. And I really love the way that they handled that screenplay. This movie also has a very frightening dream sequence. It's very funny, but the movie is funny, definitely. There are definitely some parts where the movie is very funny. I mean, just in general, when Michael's in the hotel, seeing all these things going on around him, it's actually pretty funny to see what's in the background. In fact, it's a movie I dare you to just watch a second time and try to see everything that's in the background because there's a lot going on. And that's something else I really loved is the background noise in this movie is really cool the way they used it. I mean, I've never really seen that done in other films, but they use in this movie to show that everyone else really has a purpose and Michael doesn't feel like he does. There everyone, in this film, they have their lives going on, they have things going on in their life, they have things to talk about, and Michael really never does. He is writing a book, he has a family, but it's just the same for him. He hasn't really done anything new, and he wants to do something extraordinary. He wants to have something to talk about so he can blend in with them, I guess. And I just found that very interesting. I loved that about the screenplay, and they really did an incredible job with that. And the use of background noise, like I said, was incredible. Now, with oh my god, the animation to this movie. I mean, just wow, where do I begin with the animation? I can't believe what they did with this film. I really can't. I mean, the use of claymation in this movie looks incredible. I have never seen more real humans in an animated film in my life, and that's why this just works so well. I mean, this is not at all an animated film. It's animated, but it's not at all an animated film. I mean, there are things that they do in this animated film that I've never seen before. There is a very long sex scene in this movie, but it never felt gratuitous at all. I mean, you could see many movies and you'll be like, oh, that sex scene just doesn't fit there. They're just doing that to stimulate men or women and get them into the movie and keep them into it. That's not at all what this movie is trying to do. This movie has what I think might be my favorite sex scene of all time, honestly. If I had to pick a favorite sex scene, it would probably be in this movie because the way they handle it. It's so different, and I've never seen a sex scene done like the one done in this movie. It's so well handled. The animation on all these characters just looks incredible. The detail they put on them, I mean, it just looks amazing. It's honestly better than Disney at points. There are points where I'm like, you know what, this looks better than a lot of Pixar films, and that's incredible. Without a doubt, this needs to be nominated and probably win for Best Animated Feature because I've never seen an anime film done like this before. Everything looks great, and it looks as detailed. The humans themselves looked as detailed as a regular film, and they just did that very, very well. Because, like I said, this really is an animated film at all. It doesn't feel like an animated film. It doesn't have the look of an animated film. It's simply just animated because it really wouldn't work as a live action film. And that's one of the reasons I think that I really appreciate this film as much as I did, is because of the riskiness they have in this movie. I mean, there's so many risky things about this movie. Let me just say right now, this is not for children. This is not a movie for children. Like I said, there's a very long sex scene in this movie. This is not a movie for children. If you take your kid to see this movie, don't do it. Please don't take your kid to see this movie. It's not a good idea. The score here is really, really great. I really did love the score of this movie. You really feel that depressing tone throughout this entire film, and I definitely love the way that was done. And many people will say that, oh, the movie's just about a midlife crisis. No. I mean, yeah, a large part of this is probably because, yeah, he is going through that point in his life where it's midlife and he wants something to do because he just really hasn't done enough. But Really, if you think about it, what he's really trying to say is all about how everyone needs to do something unique and how everyone is the same. No one is different. And that's really what the movie's all about, is that we as humans, we're all the same. We all think we do these extraordinary things and we really don't. There's nothing that interesting or special about us because many people have done that before. And there is a speech towards the end of this movie that Michael gives, and I really think it sums up what this movie is trying to say. It's an incredibly insightful speech, and I really love the way it was handled. Incredible stuff. Really, really love that. The editing to this film is so well done. It's such a slow paced film. You will notice that this movie is incredibly slow paced, and I love that. It takes like 15 minutes for him to actually get to know Lisa. He doesn't meet Lisa till like 40 minutes into this movie, and I really appreciated that slow pace of this film because you just see that it takes them a while to make connections, and they really handled all that very, very well. I really love that about the movie. I just thought that was very well done. 90 minutes was the perfect length for this film, not needing to be any longer than it was. And the ending to this movie, a lot of people have said this ending to the movie is very abrupt. I think it's perfect. I really think it's a perfect ending. I think they couldn't have made a better ending, and I really think the way that they ended things was just very, very well done, very well realized, and I really did appreciate the ending to this film. I really do want to talk about spoilers. I really do, because I want to talk about probably what is my favorite movie scene of this year, honestly. If I had to pick a favorite movie scene, it would be the scene in this movie. So if you guys haven't seen Anomalisa, please check out this movie. It is an incredible film, and just everything about it, it's unlike anything you've seen before, and honestly, it is for everyone. I mean, I can understand if someone's like, I don't want to see that. That doesn't really sound appealing. Adults having sex in animation, that sounds really stupid. Just go with it. Honestly, go with it. You'll get into it. You'll get completely lost in this world. That's what I did. It sucked me in right away, and I love that. And let me just get into the details with this film, because I really want to talk about what I really loved here. First of all, if you guys notice, the movie begins with people talking at the beginning, all this little chitter chatter in the background, then the ending ends exactly that same way. And that very much just sums up that Michael's just trapped. Is in this world where everyone's the same except for him. He's just different and no one else is, and I love that. But let's talk about the character of Lisa, because the way they handled her I thought was very well done and completely unpredictable. And that's something I loved about the movie. The connection that these two have just over the littlest of things, the way that she talks, the way she sings, the fact that she doesn't really see herself as this great woman, and the fact that she loves Cyndi Lauper. I mean, it's the littlest of things, but the way that Michael is attracted is because he's never really had this connection with someone before, and he hasn't really felt like anyone's different, but Lisa's different because of how vulnerable she is, and he really feels that vulnerability in her, and I really love that. And despite the fact that he has a wife and son at home, that's why he has sex with her, because he actually connects with her. And I wouldn't be surprised if him and his wife don't really have that great of a sex life. I would definitely expect that. I mean, he clearly isn't really happy with his wife or son. He's not really happy with them. I mean, sure, he might act like he has a good relationship with his son or act like he has a good relationship with his wife, but deep down he just doesn't feel right about it. And it's very interesting to watch the way they did that. But then there's the scene afterward. Let's talk about that nightmare he has, which is terrifying, honestly. It's pretty terrifying. I thought the way they handled that was very well done, because that's how any other movie would do it. Oh, we don't want you to be with Lisa, or it's terrible to be with her, and the fact that he's seeing every single girl just being like, have sex with me, fuck me, things like that. And then there'd be like, you can be with anyone except Lisa, really just shows him that Lisa, it's not going to work out. And even though he thinks this is the one for him, it's not. And there's that great scene where he wakes up and they're talking over things, and she's just talking, and slowly she starts to sound like Tom Noonan. And the way they did that was fantastic, because it's supposed to show that while Lisa's different, she's still just another woman, and he needs to understand that there's nothing that special about Lisa. He just sees her that way, and we don't really know why, but for whatever reason, something about her just attracts him. And I love the fact that, the movie's called Anomalisa because she wants to be called Anomalisa. I thought that was great. I really did love that. Um, and just her starting to sound like Tom Noonan was really, really great, the way they handled that. And by the end of that conversation, she sounds exactly like him. Her entire voice is gone, and I love that. But then the ending of the movie where she's writing in that letter just shows that she is a real person and that she is a human. This is the first time that we're not seeing things in Michael's perspective. And I love that. And most of the movie, I forgot to say, is in Michael's perspective. And I love the way that they handled all of that. The ending of the movie where he's coming home to his wife and son, and things are just the same. They're throwing him a party. He's not happy because they're just too much of the same. And this is the same stuff. He's at home with his wife and he just wants something new. And getting to go on that trip really was something new for him. And he could have gone back, but he knew it wasn't the right thing to do. He knew he had to come home to his wife and son because they were waiting for him. And when that letter was being written, I was like, that's the letter his wife is writing. I thought that his wife was writing a letter about him leaving her. I thought that's what he was going to do, but I like the where it's left very ambiguous. Like he can either leave his wife or he can go with Lisa, and it's a very open ending. Like I think it really shows that Michael doesn't really know what to do. In many ways, he wants to be with Lisa, but is she going to be as mundane as his life already is? And that's something I thought they just did very, very well. I loved the way the movie ended. Such a powerful ending. Really sucked me in and just amazing, amazing stuff. Overall, guys, Anomalisa is unlike anything you've seen before. It's a movie that I can't recommend enough. I can't wait to watch it a second time. I might watch it again, honestly, after this review because it's that great. I absolutely loved it. There's so much put into this film that just works so, so well. This is a film that could have easily failed, and it hasn't. And the saddest thing about it is that it's not in many theaters right now. Like, if it comes to your theater, thank God, because it's not in a lot of theaters. And it is coming in January, but if it is in your theater, you need to check it out. It's an incredible film. It's unlike anything I've seen, and it is an amazing, amazing film. Also, I forgot to talk about the sex scene in this movie. Like I said, one of my favorite sex scenes of all time. Just the way that was done was beautiful, honestly, because these two characters haven't had this connection in such a long time that they've kind of forgotten what to do, and it's just such a beautiful scene. I love that, showing what he wants in women, showing what he likes in women, and what the women don't have that he wants to be with. I loved. And overall, guys, definitely check out Anomalisa. Amazing film. Without a doubt, my favorite film of this year. And I don't know if it's going to stay that way. I really feel like the last film I'm going to watch, it's going to be a tie between this and that film because I really feel the last film I'm going to watch has a lot of potential. And I'm not saying it's going to be. I'm not saying I'm going into this movie saying, oh, this is definitely going to be my favorite movie of the year. I feel like it has a potential to beat this, though. I really do. I mean, just what I've heard, what I've seen, I really feel like the last movie I'm going to review has the potential to beat this film, but I'm really not sure. We'll have to see. But that's going to be our next video. It will be for the final movie review of this year. Please check out this movie if you haven't. It's incredible. And I will see you guys in my next video, which will be for the final movie review of 2015. Like I said, final movie review, then my top 15. I'm not doing a top 10. I'm doing a top 15. It is just way too hard, and I'll talk about why when I do that video. And then I'm doing my January movie preview. I'm doing all those tomorrow. But let me know what you guys thought of this movie. You have seen it. We'll see you guys in my next video, which will be for the final review 2015. And we'll see you guys for that. Okay, bye.